Hello. I'm so glad that you came in today. Now, the reason that you're here is that you're one of the 3 finalists for this position. And I have to say that we are very impressed with your work. But I do have some questions that I do need to ask you, so I'd like you to answer any way that you'd like. This is going to be a very open interview, and I want you to know that no matter what, we may have a position for you at this corporation. Now, you had been telling me about yourself. What I want to find out today is a little bit more about the real you. Your hobbies, your goals, your dreams, where you see yourself in 5 years. I understand. And if you don't mind, I'm going to make a few notes during this. Now, tell me, why do you want to leave your current position? Because you told me that you've been doing very well there. In fact, you've had a 27% increase, according to my notes, over your position from the year previous. Why, then, would you come seeking a position with us? That's a very interesting answer, and I must say I'm somewhat impressed. Now, I understand limitations, and you want to do the best you can with any goal, with any position that you're looking for. But do you really feel that you were limited in your previous job? Tell me a specific example of how you felt limited at your previous position. Now, that's a really good answer. And what I want you to know is that at this job, we believe in uncapped potential. And a lot of companies say that, but I can assure you that if you come to work for us, there is no limit to either how much you can achieve or how much you can make at this company. Now, I have to ask you a very upfront question. You are against 2 other highly qualified employees. Why should we hire you? Interesting. Now, when you say that we should hire you because you bring a unique perspective. The unique perspective could be that the sky is green. What do you mean by unique perspective? Fair enough. I understand what you're trying to say, but let me put it a different way. If we were to hire you today, and I was to put you in charge of our number 1 project for 2016, what perspective would you put on it? Very interesting. Now, in the real world, you understand that such a thing would have price consequences. That's an expensive move that you're talking about. How would you justify that to our chief financial officer? Interesting. Now, you're saying that a person who would purchase this product would actually end up paying for it by the end of that year. Are you sure you're not interested in a position in marketing? Because I think we could run that by our marketing department and probably get them very, very interested in talking to you. No? Okay, well, anyway, we want you for our position anyway. Now, how do you like to be managed? Because I will be your direct report. And what style of management do you like? Well, just so you know, I very much agree with you. I like to let my employees do their own thing. I really do. The only time I like to step in is if I feel like you're struggling with a specific area. I don't hire people unless I think they're fully qualified. If I don't think you can do this job, I'm not going to hire you for it. The only thing that I want to be able to step in is if there's a particular chink in your armor that we can help to shore up, where I can come in and help. But other than that, I want people who are go-getters. The days of sitting around the office drinking coffee until 10 o'clock, that died out in the 60s. We look for self-starters here. Describe to me a time where you were a self-starter. Okay. That is a very good example. And when you had convinced the towing company to actually come and take you to that meeting, what did they say at the meeting when you showed up like that? Well, just so you know, that's what I would have said too, because any of my employees that takes it upon themselves to get out there and get going, those are the people that I'm looking for in this position. Now, what would you say is your strongest quality? Now, I'm very impressed with everything you said, but I'm not going to let you get away with that. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but lots of people say a strength that is too vague. So I'm not saying that's not your strength. What I'm saying is I need a little bit more. Tell me about your creativity. Tell me about a specific time where you were creative and that had a positive impact on your job. Okay, I will admit that's very creative, and I'm very glad you didn't get arrested. No, I'm just kidding. It is a fine line that we all walk in this corporate environment. And sometimes it's hard to say what is that line and when do you cross it. But I do appreciate you, that you qualified that when you dressed up in that costume, that this was someone that you had worked with for many years and that you had a good relationship with. So I do understand that. All I would ask is if you're going to do something like that, maybe just check with me first. I would appreciate that. But I do like that go-get-itness. I do like how you tied it back into your product. And that is the sort of initiative that I'm looking for on my team. Now, just a couple of more things here. How do you handle criticism? Well, obviously nobody wants to be criticized. And when I am your manager, I will do my very best to be completely constructive in any criticism that I may have. But at the same time, people don't get better if they never know the areas they can improve on. So tell me about a time where your manager or your supervisor gave you constructive criticism and you were able to apply that for your business. Yes, I really do understand. It is a very, very difficult thing to know when you have to say no to business. It's almost impossible to say no to business sometimes. But you have to. Sometimes there are people who are just trying to nickel and dime you, people who are just seeing how much free stuff they can get, and ultimately people who have the best of intentions, but they themselves are in financial trouble. And if you try and hold their hand too far, sometimes they'll drag you down with them. And so I do appreciate that sometimes you do have to cut loose a client. And I appreciate that you were willing to do so. Again, probably a good time to check with me if you're planning on doing something like that. But just so you know, most of the time I would support you in that kind of decision, because I am a huge believer in the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your clients, and we really need you to focus on the areas that are going to be profitable. If you identify one of your clients as a non-starter, then just come and talk to me, because we need to gently but firmly let them go. So, I just really want to wrap up. And I just want to make a few notes here. Okay. Now, if we hire you today, will you be able to begin work here on Monday? Okay. Well, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but we ultimately were not as impressed as we would have liked with the two other candidates. Both of them are very qualified in their own ways, but they are not anywhere near as qualified as you. So I would like to welcome you to the team, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday.